gratitude out in our world. Whether you make a grand gesture or offer a small kindness, you have a responsibility to do something good with the opportunities you have been given. Thank you.
Very nice, Jamie. So at this time, you can return to your seats, and we'll be back with you in a little while. Thank you. Well, thank you, everybody. At this point in time, I'd like to have members come forward with their guests, and if there are any visiting Rotarians, to also please come forward.
They are?
What? Yep, we're gonna get it in here now. Good afternoon, everybody. It's my pleasure to introduce you to some representatives of the Interact program at Reese Puffer High School. We have the advisor, Carla Buchan, her daughter, Brooke, and president of the club, Charlie Bellinger. So if you would just welcome them to the club, you're going to see them a little bit later as well. So thank you.
Claire Root Benson here, and my guests are my president and vice president of the Muskegon High School Interact Club, who is also celebrating our official certification with Rotary International now. So Addie Whitmer is our president, senior at Muskegon High, and Cora McGinn, also a senior, our vice president.
Good afternoon, everyone. DJ Hilson. I decided there weren't enough lawyers in the Rotary Club, and so I invited another one with me, Nick Giroux. He's with Smith Hoy just across the street. He is in their litigation department and is looking to join.
Good afternoon, everybody. You've seen this nice face here, Mike Apostle, a few times from Journey Construction Group. Membership app I just gave to Kim. So I think we just need a blood sample and a physical fitness test now, and we should be good to go. All jokes aside, we're happy to have him, and he's going to be a great addition. So.
Get in here. Hello, fellow Rotarians. Tom Palmer here. This is Ricky Gutierrez of Dynasty Painting, and he has the true heart of Rotarian. So I will be sending him an application this afternoon. Let's go.
Hello, I'm Marcia Hovey-Wright, and with me today I have Maria McIntosh, who is the CEO of Threads.org, and that is an organization that a lot of words I couldn't remember, and you can say it.
So our overall goal is to create equitable spaces in home ownership, entrepreneurship, and impactful community engagement in historically marginalized communities.
See where I couldn't remember it all?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Alex Fonseca with Fresh Coat Painters of Muskegon. You guys might remember Annie from a few weeks ago with I want to say it right, Harbor Terrace, just down the road. She presented here and was really impressed with Rotary, so I believe she's working on her application right now as well. And then I also have Joe Cack. He works with Wheelfish Group, and he's also a realtor with Core Realty, so might be looking at membership as well. But I don't know. I don't know if you knew that, but.
Passing the baton. Hi, everyone. Parker Arts. I have Cindy Langlois in the house. I think a lot of us know Cindy. She's a former Rotarian, so I'm trying to wheel her back in. But she's a little squirmy, so she gets away from me sometimes. So Jim Fisher said that to her 2 days ago. So, but when I told her Jack Russell was presenting, she was like, "I'm there." So we got her. So.
Hi, I'm Dr. Emma Schroeder McClintock, and with me today I have Candace Rodarty. She's a good friend of mine. She hosts the Gratitude Geek podcast, which is a weekly podcast that comes out, and she does a lot of interviews of people nationally and internationally. So she has it's a great podcast. I'd check it out. I've listened to several of the episodes, so she does a really good job and is thorough, very supportive of small businesses, and I've known her for a number of years. She's looking at getting more engaged in the Muskegon community, even though she's lived here for several years, but wants to get more engaged and wanted to check Rotary out, potentially become a member.
Afternoon, everybody. Kendra Robinson here, and I have some wonderful students from my home district, Fruitport High School. We have our superintendent, which is our brother Rotarian, Mr. Jason Kennedy. He's going to introduce two of our students, one who I formerly coached last year on the boys track team, and thank you, Mr. Kennedy.
Well, first of all, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having our students here today. And before I introduce these two tremendous individuals, just wanted to say a quick few words about the progress that's taking place in Fruitport. From a kindergarten class that has the highest benchmark assessment scores that we've ever had in the district, to multiple elementary schools that rank as the top schools in all of the county, to a high school whose SAT scores for 3 straight years continue to improve with a graduation rate of 99.5%, to being the only school in Muskegon County to have multiple national merit semifinalists, with one of those students earning a $445,000 scholarship to Princeton. There are some pretty cool things that are happening within the district. And in addition to that, the district is currently working with the community for a ballot proposal in May that will have a net zero mill increase over the current debt levy to generate approximately $82 million to now focus on early childhood education, to build a standalone early childhood center which focuses on ensuring that all of our 4-year-old students have access to preschool in the district, to building a brand new Edgewood Elementary School as the second phase of our master facilities plan. There's a ton going on, and if you haven't driven down the Harvey Street corridor lately, Costco is set to open come Black Friday, I'm told. And that has, without question, generated subdivisions and apartment complexes and 600 to 700 plus new housing units just in the Edgewood catchment area alone. So there's a ton of growth that's happening within the community, and that happens as a result of quality people, an outstanding staff, an outstanding supportive community, and most importantly, really cool students like these. So I'm pleased to be able to introduce two of our finest, Vincent Pollock and Jolie Guevara, and then I will allow them to share a little bit about themselves.
I'm Vincent Pollock, a senior at Fruitport High School. I'm the senior class vice president, a member in NHS. I'm also the captain for the cross country and track and field team. And after high school, I'm planning to go to a 4-year university in Michigan to pursue a degree in engineering.
Hi. Hi, my name is Jolie. I'm a senior at Fruitport High School. I run my own nonprofit called Sweet Relief Project. We started it back in the summer, and so far our main goal is to donate to healthcare workers and show support. But obviously, as a high school student can't really donate a lot of money. So I thought of the idea of donating baked goods just to show some support. So I partnered with Grand Traverse Pie Company, and so far we've donated over 2,000 baked goods to various hospitals, hospices. I'm also job shadowing at Trinity Health Hospital to just try and get more involved in the medical field, and I plan to go to the University of Michigan. And my long-term goal is to become a radiologist.
At this time, I'll call upon Mike Vogus to come forward and introduce today's presentation.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. It is my distinct pleasure. I am Mike Vogus, and I am pleased to introduce my friend Jack Russell. He has been a community activist for many years, and I've known him for 25 years, and just a bit longer, it turns out, because I discovered today that he was a student at Muskegon High School when I taught there. His contributions have been significant. I've worked together with him on teaching manufacturing to high school students. As mentioned to you 2 weeks ago, he was United Way chairperson for 2 years in a row. And if you remember the Timex remark, that proves that he can take a licking and keep on ticking. He was born in Muskegon. He graduated from Muskegon High School in '73. He has been a professional photographer, a journeyman pattern maker, a private pilot. He was vice president of international business at Shape Corp for 21 years. He purchased Roll-R products in 2015, and he's merged 3 of those companies into one over the past 10 years. Jack's emphasis on transparency and employee engagement has been central to Roll-R's success, and by sharing financial data and involving employees in the decision-making process, he has cultivated a workplace environment where everyone understands their role in the company's profitability. Now he will share his unique and interesting version of the value of manufacturing to our community. You're on, Uncle Jack.
Thank you, Mike. We were both really young when we were at Muskegon. Mike was just out of college. He's probably only, 17, Mike, when you taught at Muskegon? So I'm not going to bore you with a lot of facts and figures, although we have some. Manufacturing is the lifeblood of almost every community. In most communities, manufacturing jobs are the highest percentage of jobs. As a matter of fact, in Muskegon County alone, 20% of all employment is manufacturing. So that's a big deal. For many of us in this room, and I'll ask you for a show of hands to prove my point later, some of you would not exist today if it wasn't for manufacturing in Muskegon. You say, how can you say that with surety? And we'll talk about that later. So, 20-some years ago, in the midsummer of 1995, I got on a very long airplane ride, 14 hours to be exact. And you know how it feels if you've ever traveled internationally. You feel like you've been dragged through a knothole backwards, right? You're 13 time zones away from home. So I get off the airplane, go to pick up my luggage, schlepping my carry-on, walk to the door's open, and the heat hits me like a ton of bricks. It's hot. It's probably 90 degrees and 120% humidity. That's possible, right? Any scientists in the room? So as I'm standing there in the heat, now I start to smell some things. And it's not like just damp, warm air. It was kind of more like mouse poop and sewage. If you've ever been to Japan, you'll understand that comment. So as I'm looking down at a handwritten note from one of my colleagues that tells me what bus to get on, what color. You ask, why what color? Because I couldn't read any of the signs. And I had this aha moment, as most of us have had, as I thought to myself, how did a poor kid from Muskegon end up standing at this bus stop in Nagoya, Japan, sweating? It's like, how did I get here, right? You ever had that moment where you just, all of a sudden you realize where you are and you had no idea really how you got there? So it was kind of that aha moment for me. So I was there to support the launch of the front and rear bumper beams for Shape Corporation for the 96 Civic. And it was a big deal to do that. So I'm trying to give you some background in manufacturing, especially in the automotive manufacturing, and I'll bring it home when we get to the end here, but most people don't understand how big the automotive industry is, and there's so much automotive manufacturing in the Muskegon area. I think it's good more people understand how big that is. So I was there to support the 96 Civic launch. And it was a big deal to Honda in Japan because it was two firsts for them. Number one, it was the first time they'd ever taken a part into their weld shop, what they call weld shop, where they start to assemble the frame and the components so it's solid enough so you can drive it. It was the first time they'd ever taken a part in from a U.S. company that they hadn't made their U.S. plants take first and make sure they know what they're doing. So there was no trial. First time parts are going into Japan. I'm there to represent my company. The second thing that was a first, it's the first time they ever allowed a part without the U.S. trying it first into what they call their paint shop. And it's a big deal because of markers. Markers. Well, you use dry erase markers many times in automotive business. You're checking a part, put an initial on it, you've looked at it, you know it's good, you say okay, whatever. If you use the wrong marker and it goes into a paint shop in an automotive plant, they will drain 500,000 gallons of paint out of that tank and close that plant for a day because you didn't use a detergent marker, not a regular one, because the regular ones have silicone in them. I didn't know that until I didn't know there was such a thing as a detergent marker. Did anybody else know of a detergent marker? Yeah, it's a no-no. So it was really, a big deal. And I bring that up because manufacturing is an art of doing everything precisely all the time, exactly the same, no matter what industry, whether it's you're making refrigerators or washers and dryers or automobiles, it has to be done to the right specification every time. So how big is the automotive market? Do you have any guesses? Most of the time, it takes a long time for people to get to the right number. So I'll tell you, in 2024, there were 15.5 million vehicles produced in North America. Where'd all those cars go? 15.5 million new cars every year roll off that assembly line. So that means that there's 72,000 vehicles produced in North America every day, right? 4,375 vehicles an hour, or about 73 a minute. So that means if you do the math, 73 a minute, the average, there's multiple plants doing that. The average vehicle is built, assembled, and driven off the assembly line in how long do you think? Just under a minute. 56 seconds to complete a car. The last thing they do, spray high pressure water on it, turn the windshield wipers on, have the headlights on, and another guy jumps in that car and drives it away, and there's buses bringing people back. So that means by the time I'm done talking today, if there were no cars in the parking lot, by the time I'm done in 20 minutes, there'd be over 1,400 brand-new cars sitting there. Give you some order of magnitude of how big a deal it really is. My company also produces parts for the automotive industry. That's one of the things I hope to get back into when I bought the company and built the system that we've built. So we make parts for Honda of America, and it goes in all their SUVs and their gas engines. It's an exhaust part. And guess what? We make a part 20 hours a day, 4 days a week, so 80 hours a week.
Okay, we're going to leave.
Every minute.
Okay.
Right in Muskegon,
Okay.
just like automotive. So there is no room for error. There's typically 2 days between
Would you like
shutting a
water?
plant down,
Blanket?
right? When
Sit in the wagon?
you start, there's 2 days of buffer. So if you shut down for a day, something goes wrong, you've got 1 day left. That next day goes by, somebody from that vehicle manufacturer, Honda, Toyota, whatever, is living in your manufacturing plant. I had that happen at one point. And the guy from Toyota said, okay, over the next 24 hours, I need to know what happens every minute. I'll give you 5 minutes, you don't know what happened on your assembly line, on your manufacturing line. So it's a tough business. It's an expensive business. We also support the community. We employ over 40 people, payroll is several $1 million. I just paid my Eggleston Township tax bill. The winter tax bill was over $40,000, right? So we contribute as manufacturers also back into the community to support education, fire, all of those things. So I had made the challenge about some of you may not be here if it weren't for manufacturing in Muskegon. How many of you have grandparents? This is an easy one. Everybody should raise their hand, right? How many of you had grandparents that served in World War II? How many of you had grandparents that served in World War II that made it back? Because not everybody did. I would argue that those of you who just raised your hand, you wouldn't be here without the next fact I'm about to tell you. Kind of bringing manufacturing right home to us. During World War II, according to the Lakeshore Historical Museum, there were over 23,000 employees at the Continental Motors plant on Getty Street. 23,000, right? They made engines. One of those engines that they made went in the P-51 Mustang. Made right here. And without those engines going in those planes to protect the cover of people who were invading, I would argue that there would be fewer of us here because more of those people would have been killed had it not been for manufacturing right here in Muskegon County. To me, that was kind of a pretty amazing story to realize that it isn't just important to a community, it could be your entire life could be gone had there not been enough of those engines produced. So is manufacturing important to a community? I'd argue yes, for all the financial reasons and all the personal reasons. Thank you.
You used a figure of 20%. I stood back a little bit from that because when I was a business editor in this community, I used the figure of 24%. Tell us what's going on within the employment sector of industry today.
Well, it's probably multiple things. Automotive industry is down slightly. You know, the 15, I don't know if we'll make the 15.5 this year. In past years, the adjusted seasonal rate that the automotive industry uses has been 18.5, 19 million vehicles a year. So that's a big deal. Automation is some of it. Offshoring is some of it. And many more of the car companies have moved plants to Mexico and to Canada. So some of that supply base, like I would be, has also moved with them to eliminate the transportation costs. So I think that's primarily the reasons why we see manufacturing employment down. You know, one of the other things I wanted to add that I forgot to add is every F-35 Strike Force fighter operating today has components made in Muskegon County flying every day, protecting us all over the world, and those parts are made in Muskegon, at Howmet, in Whitehall.
Hey, Jack. Chad Lowy.
Hey,
yeah, friends with Jackson and Jeff. So we go back about 25 years, too.
Yeah.
I love manufacturing and what it does for Muskegon. Two questions, like I said. The main question is, what can we do in Muskegon, or what support is there in Muskegon to help foster that? How can we grow that manufacturing, make sure it's still happening, people are investing? How can people get started in it? And you brought up Mexico and Canada, so with the tariffs, what's your thought on how that's going to impact Michigan? Is it going to help bring manufacturing back, or?
I don't know if I have enough political clout to wade into that one, but you asked, what was the first part of your question? You threw me with that tariff question.
How do we continue to spur manufacturing, start new manufacturing business? How do we foster that environment here in Muskegon so we can grow new and more?
All right. When I was at Muskegon High School, I've been talking to Jim Fisher, just saw him yesterday at a chamber board meeting, is more education in manufacturing in the schools every day. And I told them yesterday, before I left the 7th grade at Muskegon, and certainly before I graduated from high school, I had all the skills I need to do what I do right now, other than the experience that I've gained. I had all that before I left high school, from foundry to patterns to machining to drafting. All of those things were taught right in the school, and people went to college and other people did other things, and I was one of those people that did other things. So I think changing education, because college degrees are required way less and less and less today than they were 30 years ago, right? I have people that I pay more. I know there's a lot of attorneys in this group. There are people I employ that I pay more than some of the attorneys sitting in this room, in excess of $100,000, right? That's what the pay is. You know how many of those people have degrees? None. Do they make us money at that rate? Yes. So that's a testament to making sure that they get the skills they need, and also the interpersonal skills that they need, because just getting the technology is one thing, but being able to work with people is the magic piece that's harder to get. Good question. Yeah. You know, I don't know when. I can tell you my experience. We have a large customer that makes industrial pumps, and when the shipping crisis happened a couple of years ago, we went from doing $300,000 with that company to doing $1 million a year with that company. As soon as the shipping went away, it went back. So it'll be interesting to see. I haven't seen it yet. 25% is not enough to equal the playing field, right, from a cost in China. Shape had plants in China. Their wages are increasing by 25% a year as well. When I was there, we paid many of our management, quality engineers, program managers, about the same thing we paid them in Grand Haven. So I think eventually it will balance out as their wages, there's pressure on their wages to come up as well. So I think there's some hope on the horizon. Just depends on how long.
Jack, thank you very much. It was a great presentation.
Thank you.
And I guess just for everybody's information, I guess, is that I wouldn't be in Muskegon if it hadn't been for manufacturing. My father was a transplant early in the 1960s to Howmet. It was Misco Manufacturing at the time, and so I wouldn't have been here without them. So, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
In terms of an honorarium, we contribute to a organization, a large international nonprofit that provides disaster relief in the form of housing for temporary housing, and so we made a contribution to that organization for honorarium. So thank you very much. A great presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I'm sorry. I brought my agenda over to the table. So at this time, we have a birthday slide, quite a few names on the list here. Jonathan Scouten, Chip, Cody oftentimes goes by Chip Chipman, Esther Rico, Stephen Olson, Jason Kennedy, Kevin Rico, Blake Kramer, and Monica Turnbull. So I think we have at least a couple here. If we would all sing happy birthday and join me in singing that. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. So once again, a reminder, our Caring Connection, by making a contribution of $10 for your birthday, we appreciate that. The use of those funds goes to our fellow membership with cards, flowers, and other things to help them in some of their difficult times. So please consider that in making a contribution with the envelopes or even the QR code that appears in the rim every week. Mike, if you would help us with our spotlight today. Dimitri Poland is going to talk about the navigator role that we have in our membership council.
My name is Dimitri Poland. I'm an associate wealth advisor with Brayburn Wealth Management. What I enjoy most about the engagement committee, besides just interacting with the other members, is working as, I would say, the point person for our navigators. When it comes to a new member, obviously there needs to be a recruiter that brings a new member into Muskegon Rotary. And so that is the sponsor. They bring them into the club. They introduce them to everyone that's attending the luncheon in front of everybody. And so they're in charge of introducing the new member to Rotary, kind of telling them what that's all about, how we kind of do things with the club, and then initially getting them through the induction process. So after the induction process, the sponsor hands the role off to the navigator. A navigator for Muskegon Rotary is in charge of really, I would say, helping the individual become integrated into the club. Now, when they first join, it can be a scary process going into the luncheons and seeing a lot of people that you might not know. So the navigator is in charge of really interacting with that person, introducing them to new people. Maybe you're having them sit at your table, you introduce them to all your friends. You're trying to figure out with that individual what club or what committee works best for them, what's their interest, what's their hobby, what do they want to work on. And then you kind of help them get into that committee and help them get integrated into that process. But also you encourage them to go to social events. You can help them go to the Coffee Connect. We have the new member events after work or a little after 5 at the museums, and that's a great event. So this is a smaller setting for these new members to meet individual people on a personalized setting, a little bit more of an intimate environment. And then after that way, when you go to the luncheons, you'll recognize more people that you've met beforehand. And so it's an easier process for you to go there and sit at a table and recognize who you're talking to.
Very good. At this time, I'd like to call forward Doug Wood and the representatives from Muskegon High School and Reese Puffer High School, go Rockets. And Doug led the effort to achieve these certifications, and so he's going to lead the discussion on what that involved.
Yes, it did involve some things. We started this process probably a year and a half ago, and what I want to do today is welcome into the Rotary family two official Rotary Interact clubs, one from Reese Puffer High School and one from Muskegon High School. So let's start out with just recognizing them. I also want to thank President Tim, our District Governor Brianna Scott, who helped move this along and make this happen this year. It's really important that the official recognition be made. That brings us to 5 official Interact clubs that this club sponsors, so that's a point of pride, in my opinion, for Muskegon Rotary. I want to read a paragraph from a letter that each club got from Stephanie Urchik, our international president. Congratulations and best wishes to all who worked so hard to establish the Interact Club. The investment in these young leaders of your community will undoubtedly produce great rewards in the future. And that's what I'm seeing almost every time I visit one of these Rotary clubs, one of these Interact clubs that are going on in the high school. Young folks that are really very much interested in making a difference in their community. And I want to, if I could, Amy, I would like to have the presidents from each of these clubs step forward for 30 seconds or so and let them know what they've been doing this year.
Hi, I'm Addie Whitmer. I'm a senior at Muskegon High School and the president of our Interact Club, as Doug said. But one of our recent projects that we were all really passionate about was to help the United Way Homeless Continuum of Care prepare what they call blessing bags. So they do this survey every January called the Point in Time Night. And as a part of that survey, they hand out these bags of things that are going to be very helpful to unhoused people, especially in the winter. So we just packed these backpacks with like hygiene products and warm things like gloves and hats and blankets. And we ended up raising $800 in order to pack 21 of those that helped some people who really needed them. So. And we have 5 students going to El Salvador, and I just got back from building a school library in Honduras. So we're doing a lot of cool stuff.
Hello, my name is Charlie Bellinger. I'm the president of the Reese Puffer Rotary Interact Club, and I'm a junior in high school. This year we've taken a lot of steps towards servicing our community. First, we started off by making tie blankets and writing cards to veterans in local nursing homes and community homes to honor them for Veterans Day. We also sponsored a foster kid for Christmas from funds we raised by volunteering at Irish Festival this year. We spent around over $200 to sponsor him for Christmas, and his foster parents were very thankful for that. We're involved in Day of Caring this year and helped weed and build the path at the Microforest in Muskegon with the Muskegon Rotary Club as well. And we recently made Valentine's cards for people in our community to just show our love and support. And we're currently working on getting a schedule going for students who are involved in our club to go and volunteer at local nursing homes and community homes to give those people someone to talk to and to really bring the youth back into their lives.
They're very busy and they're very committed to the work they do. We do have certificates for them that President Tim is going to present for them. So Carla, would you come up and join your students so that we can get that photo opportunity for Rogers too? So.
Get in there.
Go ahead. Let's do this.
Let's do the certificates first, and then they can.
That's fine. You're the president. I'm just the student.
Yes, that was a little bit involved getting the certifications. Doug Wood, there's a lot of credit pushing that forward. We had to make application to Rotary International, and it took a while for them to get the process completed. But we're very pleased that those two schools and Interact clubs. And I didn't give a shout out to Big Reds too, along with the Rockets. I happened to see their basketball team play the other night, and they look like they have a good shot at doing well in the tournament. So at this time, announcements. We have a few people making announcements if they would come forward. But a reminder that the March Madness Brave Rotarians contest is ongoing. I'm not quite sure how we're doing in terms of counts, but we encourage you to consider entering the brackets with a $100 contribution. For those of you that aren't familiar with it, we take the final 16 for both in the men and women's tournaments, and people will get the opportunity to have their a team picked, and that's the team that you'll follow in the tournament. Just a reminder, there's information in the rim. There's also, if you have some questions, contact Meredith Smiley. Again, the cost is $100.
Thanks, Tim. Dave Alexander, President-elect. One of the things that I want to do next year is emphasize time and talent. I'm going to ask you for your time and talent here at the end of the month in March. We are announcing that we're having a winter joint service project with the Grand Rapids Downtown Rotary Club. Hopefully, some of you were part of our efforts last summer in August, in which we had the Grand Rapids Rotary Club come over and we did an outside cleanup, the Boys and Girls Club, and then had a really nice fellowship at the deck afterwards. We are going to be requesting your support for the invitation of the Grand Rapids Club to come over to Grand Rapids on Saturday, March 29th. Please save the date. We're going to be working in the Kids Food Basket operation on Leonard. It's down Leonard Northeast, right off of downtown from US 131. Easy to get to. There'll be a work project that we'll be doing within their space from 10 until noon, and then 12:30 to 2 we'll have fellowship at the selection of the Grand Rapids Club's favorite local watering hole in that area. So again, March 29th, please save the date. We will be putting out through Club Runner or whatever Kim gets, RIM. It'll be in the RIM, but we also want to use we'll do a Genius on this for sign up, and we'll get that out here in the next week or so. So please see if you can clear your time. This is for you, spouses, your family, your friends, whoever you'd like to bring along. Kids invited, and we'll invite also some of the folks from our Interact Rotary clubs if they'd like to join us. So March 29th.
Hello, I'm Kathy Brubaker Clark, co-chair of our Peace Builder Committee, along with Kelly DeVos. And hopefully this will be the last time we'll need to make an announcement, but our Peace Builder Club, realizing that peace starts at home here in our community, is the reason that we have our upcoming workshop, which is called Bridging the Political Divide, presented by the Braver Angels, which is a national organization dedicated to bringing Democrats and Republicans together in conversation. The event will be held, or the workshop will be held March 21st from 9 a.m. to noon at the Willfish offices, which will be a nice place to be hosted there, the former SPX Pyramid Building on the lake. We do need a few more participants, is why I'm up here today, so I would encourage you to go to the Sign Up Genius if you're interested. We need an equal number of red and blue participants to make this work. We do have, just to tell you I know some people are a little tense about what this might be. It's a non-threatening situation. We do have trained moderators that will be working with us, one representing red and one blue. And as I understand it, we'll start out with either the red or the blue group together in the center, talking to each other about issues, while the blue folks are sitting around the outside listening. And then that'll switch, and the opposite will happen, and then there'll be a chance to dialogue with each other. It is a safe environment. We will not be arguing with each other. The trained moderators will make sure of that. We're not going to be discussing a particular person when we meet. We will be talking about issues, so if you're worried about that, I just want to make sure you know and some of the things that even came up today, tariffs, the minimum wage, things like that. There, I think most of us can agree there's good cases to be made from both sides on many of these things, and we don't have to agree with each other, but we need to listen to each other as to why people believe the way they do. And we are all friends here. So I would encourage you, if you have any questions, can I have the Peace Builder Club members, I know some aren't here today, but can the Peace Builder Club members stand up in case, I know Doug, Jane was here, there she is. I know Contessa and Andy and Nancy and others are on that committee. If you just have a question before you want to sign up, please come to one of us, and we can hopefully answer your questions and have you join us on March 21st. And we also will have observers, so if we end up with an additional number, which we already have in some cases, we'll have those folks as observers. They will not be part of the dialogue. They can go separately and discuss at break time, but they will just be there to observe, which I think is beneficial in itself because everybody can then kind of witness the process and take what's learned back into the community. So I hope you'll join us. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Today I'm representing the Social Committee. I'm Tim Lipan, and I'd like to thank all of those of you who attended last night at the Museum of Art for our event there. We had over 70 people attend. Turned out good, and they got to see this brand new $15 million edition. So thanks for being there. Special thanks to Kurt Hallman, who's a Rotarian from the Art Museum, and his whole team who made it happen. And I think I'd like to ask Cindy Maynard to stand up. She kind of coordinated the whole event. Will you stand up, Cindy, and say hi? Maybe she didn't want to do that, huh? Anyway, second thing I'd like to tell you about is pull out your phones and mark your calendars for our next event, which will be at the Muskegon Area Career Tech Center, where we will socialize, network, but also get a tour of their facility. And if you haven't seen that or been there in a few years, you need to show up. Mark your calendars for Tuesday, March 18, 5:30 to 7. And then stay tuned for more details in the RIM and via email. And we'd love to have you do Sign Up Genius so we know how much food to buy. All right, thank you.
Been a little while since I've been up in front of this microphone, but I'm Christine Robert with United Way. Loved hearing the stories of our youth and the things that they're doing to support this community. Aren't we lucky and so fortunate to have such a great group of interactors? I wanted to just bring to your attention, I looked around the room with several people coming up and realized we have a lot of beards in this group, and potential beards. And next month is Reading Awareness Month. It's also the month that we do Beards for Books. And over 19,000 kids in our community have received a book a month because of people who put their beards on the line for United Way. Last year alone, 12,000 books went out to our kiddos. So I need to recruit a bunch of new people to help with fundraising, be willing to grow their beard if they don't have one, or be willing to shave their beard on April 4th for United Way for Dolly, so we can bring more books to kids. And all the dollars we raise then are matched. So we can fill you in on the details. I just seeing a lot of beards around here. So DJ has been a champion for this, and if your kids aren't enrolled or your grandkids aren't enrolled, get them enrolled. We want every kid to have books coming to their home, so that all of our kids are ready to read when they get to kindergarten, first grade. Thanks.
Okay, the last announcement is, what are we doing next week? Lake House. Okay, so a good reminder on that. At this time, Mary Beth, I believe you have the raffle for today. $5. No. $10. 029. $006. Oh, good job, Kate. Oh. 016. Well, yes, go ahead. What's the audience? Do you support giving it to Katie? Oh, Iron, I didn't see your hand go up. 16, yeah. I guess it comes and it goes. Our program next week will, excuse me. Our program next week will be the St. Cecilia Music Society, St. Cecilia Music Center from Grand Rapids. At this time, let's please rise and do the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you very much. Have a great week and weekend.